Today, in this video, we're talking about some controversy. Bookish controversy. Hi guys, and welcome back to Lady Jane Books. Today I have the controversial book tag. Before we begin this video, I want to announce that I have 10 subscribers. Do you know what 10 subscribers mean? Jazz hands. Oh my gosh, this is so ridiculous. I am so thankful to each and every person who not only subscribes but just views my channel. But I am so thankful to everybody who subscribes. I know I've only been on BookTube about 2 weeks, but to be completely honest, I was struggling with the idea of starting a BookTube, or if I had enough to say, or if anybody would be interested in my opinions or what I'm reading. And so to be 2 weeks in and having 10 subscribers means the world to me. I want to thank each and every one of you. I never thought I would have 10 subscribers on a YouTube channel, so I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. So let's get started. Number 1, what is the most controversial book you have ever read? Okay, so way back many years ago, I saw a book with a gorgeous cover. It was beautiful, like blood red, with a heart that had steel prongs on it, and the title was called Forbidden. So I'm thinking it's a really cool love story, like romance book. So it was a total cover buy for me, so I decided to pick it up. And wow, I should have done my research first. This book is called Forbidden by Tabitha Suzuma, and it's actually a novel about 2 siblings who are in very dire positions. Their home life is really crappy, and because of their environment, they become close, very close, much closer than you need to be to your siblings. And that really shocked me at the time because I hadn't looked up what this book was about. And then afterwards I looked up on Goodreads, and it was an extremely controversial book at the time. And I'm like, why are they selling this at Barnes & Noble? So that was the most controversial book I ever read. And it was also a really good book because it's written in a hyper-realistic fashion. It talks about the day-to-day minutia, and I had never read a book like that. So I thought it was really good, and I have to say the ending made me cry. It was so emotional, so shocking. It was good, but it's definitely not for everybody.
In looking back on this video, I realized that this is actually a modern retelling of V.C. Andrews' Flowers in the Attic.
Number 2, what is a book with a controversial title or cover? I really can't think of a book with a controversial title. However, and this isn't like controversial, like scandalous, but it's something that's controversial to me. I absolutely hate it when a publisher will change the cover style within a series so the books don't match each other. And I love having the hardcovers on my shelves, and I love looking at them. And if my books don't match, I'm not interested. Let me give you just an example. Let me show you this crap, this crapitude. I've talked about these books several times on my channel. These are Daniel Vega's books, and this one was The Haunted. It's the first one in the series, and then the sequel, The Unleashed, comes out with this. I bought this the very first day that it was out, and it's a hardcover. It's beautiful. It has amazing, odd, like haunting art. Get it? Haunting? The haunted? Wow, I gotta stop making haunted jokes. And it has beautiful art, and it's great, and it's got a dust jacket, and I like it. This is awesome. I can, deal with this on my bookshelf. But I guess what happened is that they reprinted The Haunted using this, I don't know if you can see it, this cover art, which is fine. But the thing is, I don't think they printed this edition in hardcover. I think this is the paperback. Meanwhile, they released The Unleashed in hardcover. So, not only does this book not match my original The Haunted, the first part, but even if I wanted to go and match this cover, I have to get this in a paperback. So my paperback won't match my hardcover, and this annoys the heck out of me. This is not necessary. If you want to re-release it, fine, but make sure that at least everything matches. If you're going to do a cover change, do it at least uniformly. Have them all be hardbacks. Have them all be paperbacks. I don't care. But don't do this type of stuff. No. I work myself up so much, I need a tea break. Number 3. What is your favorite banned book? I'm presuming that by banned book, these are books that were banned in school systems. I'm thinking that's correct. So I have to say that I loved Harry Potter, and I know Harry Potter was challenged in a couple school systems due to religious reasons. But my second choice definitely has to be To Kill a Mockingbird. And I remember I read that in school and I absolutely adored it. I thought the story of scouts coming of age was so good. And I love the themes of standing up for what you believe in and standing up for what's right even when no one else will. And I love the themes of giving a voice to those who could not speak for themselves and who could not defend themselves. Number 4, what was a book that you bought because of the controversy? I don't really buy books because of controversy. I just read whatever I want to read, and then I figure out things on Goodreads afterwards. And number 5, what was a controversial book to movie adaptation? Okay, I have a lot of things to say about this one. Buckle up. I absolutely hate when producers, directors, film crews take a wonderful book and absolutely destroy it with their film adaptation. And now I need to talk about Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary is one of my absolute favorite novels, Stephen King or otherwise. I read it around Halloween one year. It was so deep. It was about grief, loss, desperation, and Stephen King shattered my heart with Pet Sematary. And I know they had made a movie adaptation, I believe in the 80s, and I liked it. Because in the 80s, you know how 80s horror movies are like some of the best horror movies ever? It was like the golden age for horror in the 1980s, in my opinion. And so I saw the 1980s version and I loved it. I was like, okay, this is good. It's different from the book, but okay, they tried. Great. You can appreciate them as separate entities. I can appreciate the book as the book, and I can appreciate the 1980s version as the movie adaptation. Great. They're separate, they're different, wonderful. What I cannot appreciate is the latest adaptation to Pet Sematary. I do not know why they decide to remake movies that audience in my generation, we know about Pet Sematary. Okay? Anybody who still reads Stephen King knows Pet Sematary, and you're not introducing us to anything new here. And that's just the problem. If you're going to remake a classic novel like Stephen King, I'm calling it a classic, okay, whatever, my channel, my rules. If you're going to remake a classic Stephen King when a movie's already been made in the 80s, which is the golden time of horror, in my opinion, be able to step it up. You need to add something like a modern twist, or go really deep into the story or the emotions. And the new adaptation did not do that whatsoever. It just felt so flat and so cheap. It felt really, really cheap. Like they ran out of ideas. They're going through Stephen King's library and saying, hey, let's remake this and make money. What annoyed me so much is that they had an opportunity to really make it interesting. In the promos, they used a lot of scenery depicting kids burying an animal with masks, and they're doing it as a very solemn way and almost a very ritualized way. And they always have the masks on, and it's really creepy, and they have the drums, and it's such a cinematic moment that you're like, ooh, what are they doing? And that was the only part that I liked. And when I was watching it, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see how this pans out. They probably added a twist or something. It's gonna be so good. But the problem is they never showed them again. And that would have been absolutely fine, except they put in a scene where Ellie is shown having a mask in her room that matches the other kids. So in my mind, that is such a golden opportunity. That is a way for the directors to give a really horrific, really strange spin on it. Like, I would have loved if they made it so that way the kids that were burying the animals were all resurrected children, or they're the only ones that know the secret, or the whole town knows the secret and no children ever like age, or something that puts it together. But I feel like it was so haphazardly done by the directors that they used them for marketing tools. And that's it. But it felt like a bait and switch. If you are going to promote a new version of Pet Sematary and show these kids having a funeral for a dog with the drums and the masks and everything, you better be able to back that up in your movie. And the thing is that they didn't. It fell flat. None of that was addressed again. They used them as a prop. And the thing is, they didn't add anything to the story. They didn't make it modern. They didn't make it a better retelling. They didn't make it into a twist. It wasn't even that scary. And to me, it was a waste of time and money. I rented it the first day that it came out, and I want my money back. That's how bad Pet Sematary, the remake, was. That I want whatever $6.99 that I paid to rent it. They need to add some type of twist. They needed to add some type of eeriness, some background, just something to make it worthwhile. Because I feel like this movie was so cheap, low budget, and just plain crappy. I said it. Comment below on your bookish pet peeves. And that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for subscribing. And I will see you next time. Jazz hands. Jazz hands. I accidentally left my tea bag in my tea too long. And now it looks like I'm drinking the blood of my enemies. They shot a lot of video with these kids burying an animal, and this sounds so dark now, but whatever. I could just imagine someone like looking into my window being like, what is she doing? Jazz hands, sparkle, sparkle, sparkle. I absolutely hate when a publisher changes a cover style or cover art. I don't know. What do you call it? I'm new here. I don't know. I collect books. Saw that it was an extremely confidential? No, it's not confidential. It's out for sale. Number 2. What was a book with a confidential? It's not confidential. It's on the internet. It's definitely not confidential.